filled it up, all ran over this end, looking full of back.
You filled in one and made a fountain, didn't you?
No,
That's-
Oh, I rebuilt the pond. We broke it all up. And
Oh, did you?
Now there's no
Well,
pond
first-
there at all.
first of all, that was on one level, and that's when it overflowed at this end, was empty at the other end. Then we put a piece across the middle, had two levels, it was higher at that end than that end, so we could get some water in there.
That's the first time I'd ever seen anyone use a hose to get levels. You
Yeah.
had the hose.
Ah.
Yeah.
You probably learned a lot doing that.
I knew it before I did it. That's why I did it.
that's why I did it wrong the
It
first
was
time.
Uncle Ken,
don't know where I
Uncle
went.
Alf that.
Did it wrong.
Yeah.
That's a nice shot.
That is nice.
No, that's
the
the
one
one
with
new
that-
colours.
That's when
all
it
new
was
colours.
about. That's when it was about $15,000.
But I
4,000.
still think you should
400.
never
Yeah.
have taken away that door.
You
Which
reckon?
door?
Oh, that's
That was
that
a-
Put a
lead
window
light
in.
door there, because that made that
Where
room
is that?
nice and sunny. behind
Which room are
you.
you talking about?
The front.
The wee sunroom.
Well, see what that?
That wasn't a lead light.
Yeah, it was.
Was.
Well, not a lead light,
No,
but it was a
it was
French
a-
door.
Terrible old.
See
No.
page 11.
Opened into
Sliding
that-
doors.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
rowdy old drafty.
That was good of you to keep
It was only a
that.
front
All little
porch, though, wasn't
squares.
it?
No, it was a room.
That was really good of you to keep that. Look, see page 11 for details. You
Yes.
kept the paper on the front page.
No
but you haven't
details.
kept
Well,
any
it could be
details.
anywhere else, isn't it?
I bet you haven't.
Oh, I don't know. That's what I do.
Right.
But
Anyway,
Did not.
Fiona, what are your first memories of the Geraldine house?
yes, your first memories. I've got one of us standing at the letterbox. There's a photo somewhere.
I can
No, these
remember
are
the
all
winter
talking.
that
My
Oh, there,
memories.
there.
the
My
pipe
memory's
burst.
That's
terrible.
Richie
I
standing
haven't
at
got
the
memories.
Pipe
letterbox.
burst under the drive down by the garage, and it was frozen
That's not
about
me,
6
that's
feet
Richie,
down.
yes, it's
Oh,
Richie,
that's
but
right.
you'd only be a
Mum
little
couldn't
we
even
had cold
dig a
winters
hole
down
to
there,
Oh,
dig
really?
don't
in
we?
the
went
I
road.
never remember the letterbox on the other side of the road.
Backyard used to
This
freeze
is on our
solid for the
side.
whole way.
That's what I said. I never remember the
Oh,
letterbox
I
on the
see.
other side of the road.
Yes, yes.
When I see that, I think of Doug Little putting the milk in,
Oh,
in the
yeah.
milk.
Yeah, that's
thingies
right.
On the other side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But that,
have hopeless with memories for childhood. I wouldn't honestly know what my first memories of children were. I can't trigger things off like you can. I don't
Delivering
know.
milk
I've got
after
no-
I milked the cows up the road. Delivering milk on
Do
an
you
old
remember-
Bedford
I
truck.
remember going up and watching the TV under the blue.
Oh, that's
First
Doug
thing-
Little had the first TV and we went
Um,
up to watch the Olympic Games.
That's right.
We had to kick his underpants under the bed because he was a bachelor.
That's right. Yes, that's
He
right.
did, and he had this old blue crinkly cellophane over the front of the telly because it
oh,
was
so
No.
snowy
it's
and we couldn't
over
see
his
up
no, not over his undies, no.
those were the
We all thought he was lovely, didn't we?
But you
Well,
think
you did.
you think if that was the advent of television, we were in our teens by then. Well, Bruce,
Yes.
you and I were in our teens, and I can remember
when was that about 19?
evenings. We
I
used to
don't
have
know
the
when
old
it
Aga
was.
cooker
58?
in that
Yeah.
Geraldine house,
Yeah.
and we would all sit around that big kitchen table doing our homework, and then you would be making the big pot of porridge for breakfast the next morning, and you put it in
Used
the
to put it in the
bottom
bottom
oven.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'd we'd listen to Life with Dexter on 3XC. And that
You used to
finished-
snuggle in your bed in the
that
morning to
used to
listen to the
finish,
stories.
that would be from 7:30 till 8 o'clock, and then we'd have to go to bed. And we'd all queue up to go through the door to go up in the lounge, up the stairs, and it was so blimmin' cold in the rest of the house.
Oh,
And you used to have a wee kerosene heater at the bottom
That
of the
stunk
stairs
the whole place out.
that had a stink, and we used to stand at the top of the banisters
was this
and
how you?
sniff in the smell of the kerosene, you know,
Straight up.
straight up above.
Was
But
this-
that was the heating of the house.
You druggies.
Was Dad
Please.
alive then or
The
not alive
beginning
then?
of drug
You
use.
mean just the years
Ah.
that we were on our own? Or was that Dad?
Do you want?
I think
No, I
Dad
said was
He
Dad
bought
alive?
the heater.
Was this
How old were you when Dad died then?
6?
Oh.
My memories of
50
only
We were
memories-
only out there.
we were only there about a
3
year
years.
when he died.
No, 3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
I've got about 4 real
53 to
real
57.
prominent memories, whether they're right or not, of Dad. One is seeing that little bird that used to sit on his windowsill at Bidwood. He used to feed this little bird.
Bidwell.
Bidwell.
Yes.
Bidwell Hospital. Yeah.
A wee bird that used to come and sit on the windowsill, and he said he used to feed it. And yet I can't really picture him being there, but I remember the little bird. The other was Sunday night when he used to play the hymns and we used to sing, and when you used to cook toast on the
Toast,
open
cheese on
fire,
toast.
and Mum used to put the cheese on the oven make
Melt
it all
it,
melt,
and
bring
then
it in and put it on the hot
Oh, yes,
toast.
I remember that too.
Remember
The wedding when I was flower girl.
Who's wedding?
Oh,
For Mavis.
Over the road.
Remember
Mavis.
Oh, yes.
sing songs
When I
you
was
used to have?
called in the night before
The other
because the other
girl
girl
got
got measles.
I remember
Yes.
And I remember to me it was
Twinkle,
like
Little Star.
Oh,
To stand and sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. That
to me it
Tamara
was
then.
like the middle of the
Oh.
night. Mum, I was standing up,
They had to-
and Mum was putting elastic or something in the side of this dress that
Yeah,
fitted
that's
me
right,
because I
that's
was bigger than the other little flower girl the dress had been made for. And I remember walking into the church. Don't know anything about the wedding. And walking into the church, and as you walked into St Mary's, you know the seating was there, and you and Dad was standing there, and I can picture him standing there as I went in, and that's.
As much as you can remember.
And the only other memory
I
is
don't
me
even
sitting
remember.
on the floor at your feet. The night you came home from the hospital, and we were all sitting around you, and I remember sitting on the floor. You were sitting in the big armchair in front of the fire on the lounge, and you told us that he'd gone to sleep and he was never going to wake up. And that's the only memories I got of Dad.
I don't remember that at all. I remember him
That's-
chasing hoo-hoo bug
Oh, that's when he had his
Um,
heart attack.
round the lounge, whopping them with a rolled up newspaper.
Yeah, that's when he had his
and-
heart attack.
And the other time
Oh,
was
did he?
when he was playing tennis with us on the lawn tennis court, and he was running backwards, and he ran into the climbing
Roses.
rose and got prickles all in his back.
Had nothing on top, just
He
shorts
just had his shorts on.
But that's actually the only memories I've really got from way back then.
on. Those days that fence was twice the height though, because we'd cut that fence down because all the poles rotted off of the ground.
Okay.
Turned
Oh,
the
yeah.
pipes upside down, didn't they?
Oh, did
Put the good end down into the
Oh,
ground,
yes, I think he
concreted
did
them all in
too.
again.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, it's only half the height in the later photos,
Yes, yes.
There's a photo that
but we
I
never used to use it for tennis in the later years.
There's a photo that I want to find. I don't know whether you've got it. With Reg sitting on top of that chimney.
Oh,
Don't remember.
I've
that.
seen it, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah, but I haven't
Might be
seen
Oh,
in
it.
have
your
you?
book.
I've never seen
Trying to
it.
be in Edmund Hillary.
Well,
Yes.
I still think it's amazing that you and Reg painted that jolly house.
Yeah,
Got up there.
I painted the upstairs, all those frames from inside because I wouldn't climb a ladder,
Oh.
and I hung out and did them that way.
Yeah.
And they had the.
That must have been when I was away. I don't remember that.
You were,
No, I don't remember that.
You were
either.
at boarding school.
No, golly no. But and the boys, what's the name's over the road? You know,
Tennis.
no, Graham that married.
Yes. How's
Was there?
the health inspector? Plumber.
What's Graham hat?
Yeah, well, he
Mavis.
married Mavis.
Yeah.
And
Rona.
and they did the.
Graham's still alive,
painting.
but Mavis is dead.
It took the moss off the roof. It was a slate roof.
How did they get it on?
Well, they had a truck on this side, and they had a ropes on a ladders up there, but they had to have them
Right.
tied on both ends over the other side of the house so it didn't slip. It was a very steep roof, and they took all the moss off
Wouldn't
that.
Osh be delighted to hear that news now?
Yeah.
Who would? Oh,
Osh.
oh, well,
Imagine today trying to do it that way.
yes.
Did you know that Graham Howes is still alive, but Mavis isn't?
Oh,
Found that
really?
out because
Yeah.
chap Howes has got the cycle shop.
Yeah.
Goes
He's a relation.
goes and sees him quite
Does
often.
he?
I'll talk to him. Yeah.
Are they
Andrew.
still in Australia?
No, he lives up in Blenheim or
Nelson.
Nelson or
Used
something.
to- they went to
Yeah.
Nelson.
Oh, do you know that? You went to Nelson.
Yeah, years ago they went to
Yeah.
Nelson.
Well, what's her name died there, didn't she? Rona.
Rona, Ron.
Yeah. Well, they must all be.
Remember the fire in the cow shed? We came home from church that day.
Yes, yes.
In the car there
And
was
he
a-
was sitting inside smoking a
Well,
pipe.
Dad had been playing the organ at church, and when we got in the car to come home, we saw this big plume of smoke.
That's
And
right.
Dad said, God, and tell me that's the roast dinner.
And
Right,
I
smoke,
ran
so
in and grabbed the
Record
fire
speed up the
extinguisher.
hill.
I remember
And
you
you
running.
ran up our drive.
I remember you running around the house and he was sitting inside and you yelling out. Somebody come back to me. You
Yes.
yelling out, your cow shed's on fire, and he was sitting
Right,
inside.
showed him.
I
He was
remember
having
that.
his lunch,
I
I
remember
think.
that he was sitting.
Yeah.
Oh, I've only
Something
just
about-
that's come back right
Yeah,
now.
I remember that.
Remember the old
Took
vintage
it a memory.
cows that were under the tree, under the macrocapa, pine tree, whatever it was, down by the bee house,
Don't remember that.
just behind the cow bales.
Mm.
Remember those two old Austins? Imagine if you had those today, they'd be worth a few dollars.
Yeah.
But
And who did they belong to?
well, Ron and Archibald, was it?
Oh, I see. Yes.
They were, later on they pushed them down the gully, left them under the trees. I often
Oh.
wonder who got them. They
Yeah.
pushed them away down the gully by the
Okay,
beehives and
right.
pushed them into the native trees down there, and they sat
Yeah.
there for years. But
Oh.
we left Geraldine, I don't know whatever happened, but they'd be collector's items today.
I remember we were just going away for a holiday.
Yeah,
We had the car all packed up and loaded.
we were staying with Turners, remember?
Yeah, you
Oh,
were
I was staying
staying-
with Bill Voice.
Was that where you were staying?
Yeah.
I stayed
I
at
knew you were.
Voices
I
once
didn't
too.
think anybody stayed with
I
Turners.
stayed at Voices once. I don't know why.
But anyway, we and you were down the over there with
Ron
go-
says,
with
try
the
some
goat."
honey.
no, No, they were down at the
By the
when you-
beehives.
by
And the bees
by the
chased you.
beehives.
Ron had the
yeah.
blooming net
And
all
we-
over his face, and he said, "Oh, try some honey."
Oh, I know.
Took it
Bill
out of
Voice
the
was
thing.
with you. I know what's coming.
And the screams that we were in the car just shutting the gate to go.
Yeah, I remember that now.
And here's Bruce with his curly hair that was just a massive tight curl.
Bees
And bees all in his hair. He was stung all in his forehead. And we
Bill
had
had one.
crying.
Bill had one in his
all the-
ear, didn't
yeah,
he?
Bill had
Yeah.
one in his ear and he wasn't making a sound. But Bruce was kicking
I
up
was
all
making
the
enough noise
fuss.
for everybody.
That's where I got it from.
Just don't pee your
Well, when you
pants.
say staying with Bill Voice, I wonder why I ever stayed at Boyce's house.
You and I
Somewhere to
maybe.
get rid of you so we could go away.
No, I remember
One of those
after
holidays.
the day of Dad's funeral, I stayed with them. Did you stay with me?
The only thing, well, I'm
Because
sure
we
you.
didn't go to the
The
funeral.
only thing I. Oh, was that
I
happened
could
before?
never
I think so.
ever understand why I ever went to the funeral without
Without
your
us.
children.
But you didn't take children,
in those
Mum, in
days,
those
you
days.
didn't.
You didn't take children, did you?
The one thing I remember about Boyce's house, it's the only thing I ever remember that I knew I stayed there was I got up in the middle of the night and it was a big creepy old
Oh,
house.
it's a big house.
And I was busting to go to the toilet and I ran to the toilet
You
and
couldn't
I
find
sat
a way.
I sat on the toilet and as soon as I sat there I was like, oh god, this is warm. I swear I can remember. And the lid was down on the seat. It got very, very warm and I was so embarrassed. I must have been only
wet.
I must have been only 6. I must have been only 6 and it was after Dad's funeral. But I remember trying to clean her up in the middle of the night so Mrs. Voice wouldn't find it in the morning.
Oh,
That's the only night, the only reason I know I stayed there that happened.
yeah. Oh, dear.
Moral of the story, lift the lid before you sit down.
But I think, but you know, I think it must